exciting show for you today. We want to look at both sides, the pros and cons about Trump signing executive orders to eliminate cashless bonds. And we want to show what's going on with the National Guards that are now, Trump want them armed against American citizens. So I think that we're kind of going into something that I didn't anticipate our president actually sending military armed troops to go after Black American citizens, because this will be happening in Washington, D.C., which is predominantly a Black district because it's the District of Columbia. And it's a lot going on. And can the federal government override the laws that's on the books and override the mayor? So we're going to look into all of that. So you guys, don't forget to become a member of Speak the Truth 2.0. We love our members. We're planning something special for our members. And we do have another channel called Pray Till All Hear, and that's all about God, because God is in control. We're not about the right, the left, but we're children of the Most High God. So anyway, you guys, just stay tuned. So we want to look at the effects that's going to happen inside of Washington, D.C., and he wants to spread it to other predominantly, I guess, Black states. So we want to see, are Black people the threat to America? Are we the threat? What has changed recently that we didn't even have armed National Guards for the illegal immigrants? And he says 25 million that came into this country, 350 are terrorists, but we have FBI agents roaming the streets of D.C. that aren't trained to do police work. And we have our National Guards who's supposed to fight. They're supposed to fight for us and for our freedoms. And now Trump has weaponized the military to go against American citizens. And I'm about America first, that we're America first. And I was so happy. I said, this is one election that we all came together, regardless of ethnicity, to stand for this president, put him into office, because we really believe that he was for all Americans. But once that former Doge employee, Big Balls, was beaten up, not murdered like all these other states and red states included, Trump declared war on the Black community and our Black children. And he's trying to convince Black communities and the world that Black people are criminals, we're thugs, and these are the same stereotypical lies that have plagued our community for years. But in 2025, we're not impoverished. We're not all on the system. Matter of fact, there's more white people that are receiving assistance from the government, and there's nothing wrong with that if you need help. I'm not even saying that. But to target American citizens that support you, and the police, they can't differentiate between if this is a young man that's a college student or a young man that's had criminal activities by looking at someone. You can't judge a book by its cover because it's deceiving. People that you think that are even racist are not racist. You know, they might have the appearance. You see this big, bulky white guy and all that. He's married to a Black woman, or he's not racist. And it's like, it's so incredible how what you think of people is a lie, and the media has done a tremendous job, along now with the president, labeling American citizens.
Lee Lopez, I saw you last time. You must be a big fan.
I'm like, when did we start arming arming our National Guards to literally prepare them not to protect us in wars, but now you're using the military to attack American citizens? This is like above my pay rate.
Dirt sauce. After everything that has happened to Black people, yes, we are the victims of everything.
We are the victims
done to us. And Lee Lopez, my dude, my whole family is a military family.
We're military.
My brother is a soldier.
Yeah, my son.
I've even tried to join the military. We're not soy boys out here.
But but the narratives that have plagued our community still follows us, because when black people do anything, we're put in a bad light. And you would think that we were a threat to America when we're not. We're not the threat to America. We are law-abiding citizens. But when our counterparts, our white community, do things and mass murders, and the criminal rate is higher in that community, and they lead in that community, but we're not the threat. We never enslaved people. That's why Trump wants to erase the history, what was done to us, because if you don't know your history, that's how history repeats itself. And that's why when I look at all this attack on the black community, it's the same thing that Biden did with the 1994 crime bill. He said, oh, they're beyond rehabilitation, beyond the Pell, super predators. Like he said, and Knowles, whatever her name was, standing up there in the Oval Office, telling me she'll be safer walking on the streets. White women. It's like we're repeating history. And what I've always said about Trump, I'm like, Trump never locked us up. Trump never attacked black people. Trump never did the things that Biden did. We should have never voted for Biden because he caused mass incarceration of black men. That's why our birth rate is lower. That's why our kids are not being reared properly. But when you have black fathers in the household like Deion Sanders, like damn if you do, damn if you don't. He's out there, his kids got master's degrees, college degrees, just like mine, and they are productive, they're successful. But when you have successful black people, you're still attacked for being successful. So when you had Black Wall Street and black people had their own banks, their own communities, their own mansions, they burnt it down to the ground. So every time we start coming up, it's like, okay, they're getting too big. It's time to bring them back down where they belong at. And it's time to humble us, and it's with the help of the media. So my concern is that we're returning back to that old regime, and what people don't understand is that when Biden did the 1994 crime bill, these are facts, look it up. I'll put my hand on the Bible, that when he did the 1994 crime bill, he said the same things. And guess what the black community did? We were in agreement. We were like, oh yeah, lock up the black men. Yeah, the NAACP, they leading the way. Al Sharpton leading the way. Reverend Jesse Jackson leading the way. Congressional Black Caucus leading the way. We all fell for the okie doke, not knowing the impact that it would have on our communities. And we're not the leaders in crimes, but we're highlighted, just like they said we're DEI. They put black people like the face of DEI. That's a lie. So when you see a black person in a position, because we're executives, scientists, architects, astronauts, doctors, lawyers, multi-millionaires, billionaires, we put $1 trillion into this economy, and America gets its identity because of all the black swag. Everyone want to sing like us, to copy our music, our dance, our wear, everything. Everything.
Hey, shout out to X, God rest his soul.
And we have offered so much, and in spite of that, we are survivors. We're resilient.
People have actually said I look like that.
We are resilient as a community, and what you want for your kids, we want for ours. We bleed the same way. God gave us all the same brains, kidneys, lungs. It's all the same. We're the human race. The only thing that God changed was he made us beautiful. He gave us all different pigmentations. That's the only difference. It's our skin color. And there's no superior brain. There's no superior brain. We all have the same abilities, but guess what's involved? Your environment matters. Your influences matter. Your education matters. If you're set at have a lower education rate, you got the worst teachers, you don't have the tools, you don't have the books. When you go and apply for the same colleges, you might had a 4.0 average while you was in high school, but then you go to a predominantly white school and like you're like a C average because you weren't given the same tools. But we are smart. We are smart, and I don't like that I see the divide. Like, when have we seen, even Biden didn't arm, now he's arming the National Guards to go after the black community. That's what he's doing, and we're justifying, because black people, we don't want crime.
And we might have to explain to them, as a black person, you get treated differently by the police.
You get treated differently by the police according to the color of your skin, because this is the real deal. If you're black, they can shoot you with no consequences. But the illegal immigrants have more protections than the black Americans. We've been asking for an anti-hate crime bill ever since the Democrats have had the Congress, the House, and the Senate, and they didn't do damn thing for us. So it's like we've been Democrats all these years voting straight down, and when they're in power, they have done more against us.
Look at Elijah McCain.
Yeah, they have done. Yeah, Elijah McCain. He was like a little kid.
A nerd.
They a nerd. They shoot our kids whether they look nerdy, whether they walking down the street, whether a cop's supposed to serve us. We shouldn't fear a cop when we need assistance, when we're paying their services and we are citizens, but there is these rules that apply to black people.
Aren't they public?
They're public servants. So if you go into a store because you have the president who has the highest office, if he's labeling a people as thugs, that's how people are going to view us around the world. So when you have people come into this country, they're already told, oh, the black community is threatening. Oh, the black community are impoverished. Like we barely making it. Newsflash, we are not barely making it. All that stuff they keep showing y'all, I guess, on TV. And then they downplay the real criminals. They could kill like 10 people. And they'll say they were trouble, not thugs. They raping, killing, murdering, robbing. I have, like, go to Mayor Bowser, one of my other videos, when I just put the statistics up to show that, like, over 4 million per se, like, say, our white brothers and sisters are committing more crimes than black people, 1 million, say, like, 800. It's like, it's night and day, but they don't focus on those communities, and that's a problem. That's a problem when we want to be one nation under God, America first. America first is not putting the military on a group of American citizens and labeling all of us. Because people who have shot people and been violent, they're in jail. But the people he's arresting, they don't have warrants. They don't have criminal records. He's doing a body count. And now he wants it look like a body. Why would you feel like you got an arm? You got police already armed. You got the FBI out there. Now you want to arm our soldiers? I couldn't imagine my son out there and he supposed to use his weapon against an American citizen. And we allow that, it's going to spread to all of us, and it's going to cause divide because we support Trump.
It's like, I think,
but this is becoming harder and harder every day.
It's like, I think his name is Philando Castile, but how he told the officer that he
Yeah,
had a gun.
Philando Castile was a union worker. He's in his car with his daughter.
A legal gun.
A legal gun, and told the officer, shot him dead in the car in front of his wife and his daughter. But it's like if you shoot a black like God is, people going to answer to all this. God doesn't have a white section in heaven. He doesn't. When we have our spiritual body, it's not going to be according to the color of our skin. There's no race more superior. There are races more treacherous, and we know who they are. But they want to take and masquerade like it's black people when they're the wolves in sheep clothing. This is the truth. And when we go along with the stereotypes, we label all of us. Every successful nurse, doctor, lawyer, entrepreneur, business owner, builder, they put all of us in the same boat. Like we're not contributing to America, which we are. But they want to highlight what's bad. But what they don't highlight, that the red states have a higher criminal record. But he wants you to believe, oh, the black people in D.C., people killed. No, we shouldn't be killing anybody. But that happens in every state. Whether it's whether it is more black people in certain cities or not, it's in every state. That's why he didn't compare the crime in District of Columbia to other states and cities. He compared it to other countries because he couldn't substantiate sitting in the National Guard. It was not a state of emergency. We know that. All of us know that. What major big city, and you got a majority of a population, you're going to have more of that ethnicity killing one another. And that's everywhere. You go to Mexico, you have more Mexicans killing each other. You go to Canada, more Canadians gonna be killing each other. That's how it is. But that's not the highlight. But but he wants cashless bails irregardless. Like if somebody say they went into Walmart and they stole whatever, we're gonna pay more tax dollars to keep them in jail. And because they're poor, they stealing some food because they hungry. Because we don't feed Americans. And those vets, we don't feed the vets, and we're not providing housing for them. They're not getting SNAP benefits with $13,000 on it, or they're not getting EBT card with over $30,000 that they can spend in 10 months. Americans are not given that. So they go in the store and they're hungry and they're arrested, so they can't be let out of jail because they were hungry. They stole a freaking apple. They stole something to eat. Or they're sleeping outside in the cold and they stole a hat. I can understand violent criminals. They should be locked up. But he's going after everyone and anyone, and especially black children, because the farmers need laborers. Jail was created. That's why so many, they wanted mass incarceration of black people. That gave you your slave labor. That's what happened to us. That's how you keep black people in slavery. Oh, they need farm workers. They want to ship out the immigrants. Arrest black people. Get the children. Get 30 years out of them.
No one's crying. No one's crying.
You know what? You could call it with whatever you want to. I don't care.
Yeah, they say
I don't care. Because it's not you. Lock your ass up. Lock your children up. Go after, you walk down the street because the color of your skin and you're a target. You know how it is that you want to go about your day. You're trying to go to work and they're stopping you because you're black and you got a problem with it. So now you locked up because they're harassing you. The people they're locking up don't have records. The people they're locking up aren't all criminals. They're not locking criminals. You think that a criminal is walking around out there committing crime with that? They're inside. They're locking up citizens. That's what they're doing. They take our daughters and even our females. They treat them like we are men. Men. And that's wrong. We have to stop the nonsense. And I'm going to stand on God. What's right and what's wrong. It's not based on the color of your skin. And I'm going to show y'all that, and I'm going to bring out videos to show the crime rates in red states and the red communities and who's committing the crime, because it's higher rates. But Trump been invited to Baltimore and to see how they reduced crime by 62%. And he doesn't want that. He wants to arrest black people once again because maybe we're becoming too smart for our britches. Maybe we're becoming too productive.
You should ask people in the chat, would they be okay with the National Guard with pistols in their neighborhood?
Would you be okay with National Guard?
They seem fine with it in the comments.
Walking around with guns in your communities? Soon as you come out the house, if they were after white people, they're after you. You walk out your house.
They're stopping you at your car.
They're stopping you at your car. You're on your property. And they're questioning you and asking for ID, sitting on your own property. What, like, let's say, show me your papers. That's what they used to do in slavery time. Show me your papers. Oh, we're stopping and frisking Americans. Remember, we're Americans. So now there's a war. Apparently, it looks like it's on American citizens.
After all the things white people have done, you cannot, it's a joke you saying fatigue for a different race.
And you know what, y'all, it's not a fake victim. And see, that's why Trump wants to erase black history and everything that been done to black people, so then people will not know the horrors that was done to an entire community. And we don't need to erase it. We're not ashamed of it. What happened, happened. They crushed embryos. They rape black people like no other. Their life expectancy was 12, 13 years. They worked from sun up to sundown. They were given the worst of the worst foods of everything, that they had to learn how to make chitlins. If you don't know what that is, those are intestines and pig feet and stuff like that. It was nothing but cruelty. They were whipped like Jesus was on the cross with lashes. They were brutalized. They were sold on selling blocks. They were hung, and it didn't matter. They took your children away from you and sold them.
Oh, you got to put it in their shoes, because these people in the comments are kind of crazy. So you have to try to put it in their shoes.
It needs to happen. Now, if black people become in charge and we enslaved you and did that to you and targeted you, would you have the same sentiments? Because that seemed to be the fear. You know what happened to the Native Americans? They were completely wiped out, and they're still living on reservations today. Stole all their land. Everybody that was kind and friendly and giving. And you want to say that black people are the threat? We're going to push down that narrative. We're not going to take one community when we got communities of people that are gaslighting the world about who the real threat is. Who the real threat? We didn't cause $37 trillion debt. You know who? All the white people have been in charge. We didn't cause the problems that are here in the United States. We have not been running this country. We didn't enslave people, and we don't discriminate against other people. But we're going to speak the truth, and we're going to stop stereotyping a whole community. That young man got beaten up, and now all black people are going through it. And I don't know if it's for Elon Musk, because I do believe that he is a racist. I don't know if it's because of him. I know he had these South Africans. They try to get rid of immigrants, but we want to ship in white immigrants from South Africa, claiming that they were being, farmers were being attacked, and that was a lie. Y'all got to do your research. It was black farmers that were being killed and attacked. But if you don't search and find out these things for yourself, you believe everything that's on the media. But why are we going after Americans when there are better ways to handle situations? Like, if we can invest in 14 plus million homeless people to come into our country, and we could take care of them, and we can invest in these black communities when we're owed reparations, but it's already giving them reparations, and they never earned one damn tax dollar. They didn't work for us, those 14 plus million people that came into our country. They're getting free education, health care, college, SNAP benefits. They received everything that we don't do for American citizens. But when we say do something for the black community, the sky is falling. But then you won't have crime. Then you'll have people they'll have the tools, just like they did for the Jewish people, the Japanese people from Pearl Harbor. Even Native Americans receive reparations. So it's like this people say they're Christians, but they think that they're going to separate these biases. God is not going for all of this. And we're going to stand and we're going to answer to God. The majority of the things that Trump has been doing, I think he's been doing a phenomenal job. But I'm not going to stand by and watch history repeat itself for my community that's coming around to support the Republican Party. Because that makes me look stupid in front of my community, because my position is Director of Publication and Legislation. That my connections is with the Democratic Party, with the senators. I have meetings. I've been with Biden. I don't know how many times I got videos online. I met every top Democratic leader. I've been to all the conferences, all the dinners, all of that. That's who I am, representing. Who I was representing is like over 200,000 people. And now I done jumped ship, and now he's turning around doing this because that one white guy, like, he said, beautiful. Black is beautiful. I mean, black don't crack. We don't need Botox and all of that. We're naturally beautiful, and we're kind, and we're a giving community. Even people who don't have anything will give to you. But we're not those impoverished people that they still want to act like and keep suppressing a community. That's what the Democrats did to keep us down. Elijah, read this super chat. You guys can super chat us, or whatever you want to say, you can super chat us and we will read it. This is from Frush. How do you pronounce your last name? Can you read this, Elijah? You know, we have to do better as Americans. Y'all can super chat us because we don't get anything for doing this, and that support the channel. When we do lives, we get nothing. Like, you know, so
Turk got something to say.
great. We want
He
that.
said, "You here we go again." He said, "You have never been. It's gonna be good. You have never been enslaved. Whites ended slavery in the U.S. and it was black Africans who sold your ancestors. Go get reparations from Africa first."
Well, see, your comment is insensitive, and because you've never been black, and I can show you a video right now of Trump, and I'll do it after this, of a white man that actually, I don't know if you know the story, but he injected dyes and went under doctor supervision, and he went under a blue light to darken his skin. He shaved his head to find out what it would be like to be a black American. He did it for 6 weeks, and he was traumatized. And I'm gonna show that video because unless you walk in our shoes, then you don't know what it is to be black. It doesn't justify that I'm not enslaved, but what happened to my ancestors, that's not going to discount the hardships and what they went through. And I don't understand. We want to put back our federal Confederate statues, but we want to erase the horrendous acts from Emmett Till to all whatever that's been done and inflicted on black people. That's nothing for us to be ashamed. That lets us know that we don't ever want anything like that to happen again.
And it doesn't, and it's history, and it doesn't discount the racism that black people still feel.
Yeah,
Like that I go through.
and it's like they suffered through it. We supposed to say, okay, they went through it. Oh well, that is not right. Just like what happened to the Jewish people, being the 6 million dying. Don't people tell them to get over the Holocaust? That they not, the Jewish people now, they not going through it, so they supposed to say, oh, get over it? They will never forget the Holocaust, like we would never forget slavery. And we shouldn't.
And like the Native Americans won't.
They won't, they're not going to forget, because whatever you take away, we're here to still tell the story. And black people are looked at differently. When you go in or anywhere, I don't care if what kind of money you have. Read that. What kind of money? I don't care if you pull up in Rolls Royce and you have millions of dollars worth of diamonds on you. You still will be watched in the dollar store.
Turd Ferguson, just because you're saying it's true doesn't mean it's true. Now he said comments may have been insensitive, but were true.
They're not true.
Exactly. Just because you're saying
and you're not black, so you have no authority. If you haven't walked in the shoes, and I'll prove that to you. You're not black. Why would Trump put the military against black Americans when we had open borders and we got 350 almost terrorists in this country right now? We got cartel here. We got MS-13. We got Trinidad Raga. We got Iranians. We got ISIS. Chinese nationalists. We got ISIS.
They're back.
We got all these people that can implode this country. You know how many people it took to take down the Trade World Center on towers in New York? And we have all these people here now, and we want to focus on, like, black people are the threat? Are you serious? You think this is the time that crime is going to go away when we got all this walking around in this country?
Thanks, Freddie.
We have to be for real. Thank you guys for super chatting us. Y'all can cash app us. Because like we said, that'll help us. We don't have sets. We don't have anything. We are authentic. And if any, you want to hear, and you're from around the world, you're hearing from people that are standing in those shoes as black Americans. And nobody can just, tell us our experiences. I'm blessed. I know who I am. I walk with confidence. I'm perfectly and wonderfully made. I'm the apple of God's eye. I don't care what color you are. But you're not, that doesn't matter to me. You're a child of God. But you're not going to have falsehoods about a community that's loving and that are supporting this country. And this is the wrong time to target. You're going to target black Americans with armed National Guards, but you didn't do that for the illegal immigrants?
Oh, Endor said hi.
Oh, hi, Endor.
Endor.
We have to be real. I'm no different. If I was in Washington, my son was in Washington, he would be stopped. I would be scared as a mother. He's a college student. I would be frightened for him to go to work or to go to school. They need bodies. Trump is only going to prove what he's doing in Jeannie Pereira. Like the whole country going to be safer if all black people are locked up. That's a lie. You got to lock up all white people for America to be safer.
And there's something else.
Okay, if that's the case.
And there's something else that judge is going after the children.
They want the children because children no bail. Like Trump said, lock them up for a long time. But you got criminals that commit murder that are white that they get rehabilitation. They get lower sentences. But you're gonna say children, lock them up that haven't committed murder. He's not talking about that. He's talking about just lock anybody. That's what they did with mass incarceration. The people for minor crimes were locked up with these over sentences. And that's what they're trying to do again. They're trying to repeat history. And they're trying to get the community to say, yeah, all black people bad. Black people need to be locked up. If that's what it is, you need to lock up the people that's committing the most crime. And those are white people. The news need to stop saying they trouble and suffering from mental illness and call them thugs. Call white people thugs. Because the only ones that's ruling everything are the white community. If we're going to be honest.
The ones that do all the school shootings.
All the majority of the crimes. But they keep us like we're the ones that are threatening. We didn't do the things in this country that was done to us as was done to other Americans. And my whole thing, America first, means all of us. We're one nation under God. And my concern is the black support that Trump is beginning. Think you're going to win these elections about the black support. You're delusional. If you think you're almighty, we don't need them. Yes, you do.
See, they're not used to this. Seeing Trump voters get on here calling Trump out.
Yeah, and we have been supporting him from day one. I believe that if he wasn't president, we would be in World War III. But I didn't see this coming. Yeah. This attack on American citizens. I did not see this coming.
Oh, there go Buddy's back.
Okay, well, read it.
Here you go. He's back again with this discrimination. It says, so Africans didn't sell your ancestors? The white man didn't go into the jungle and capture your ancestors and enslave them. White man bad. You know what? It's like you're trying to justify the actions that were done to black people in this country. And two wrongs don't make a right. Whatever they did over there, putting black people in the boats and allowing millions of black people to die, the worst conditions, and brought them in. Of course, they're from like how many different countries are in the continent of Africa. They're all speaking all these different, I think it's 52, they're all speaking different languages. So they couldn't even communicate with one another. And then you're going to withhold education because people perish for lack of knowledge. So you're going to justify the slavery and selling of people? We're not going to justify that. We're not going to justify that. I'm going to look at this in a minute. Okay. We're going to go to Trump, and we're going to go into this this act that he's doing. Hey. Go ahead.
Crime, and in particular, violent crime. Today we're going to be discussing it, and I watched as a very incompetent mayor from Chicago said, well, what do they know? They only arrested 9 people. I said, 9 people? We didn't arrest 9 people. We actually arrested a total of well over 1,000 people. We took hundreds of guns away from young kids that were throwing them around like it was candy. We apprehended scores of illegal aliens. We seized dozens of illegal firearms. There have been 0 murders. It sounds sort of terrible to say. It's embarrassing. I did this over the weekend. I'm making a speech, and I acted like I was so proud. As I said, we've had 0 murders in the last week. And some of these people were from foreign countries. They said, that doesn't sound so good. And I said, well, it doesn't sound good, but Washington was the most dangerous place in this country, and now, you know what? It's probably the safest place in our country. Everyone's starting to come here. The restaurants now, you can't get in. Many of them closed because they couldn't open with crime. Everybody before me is happy what I'm doing. Most of you won't say that because you're radical left. The newspapers are so dishonest, the press is totally dishonest, but that's all right, we got used to it. And we won in a landslide, so they obviously lost their power. I mean, it's impossible to imagine that when you get 97% negative stories, purposely negative stories, even though you've done 97% positive things, that they could, that you could win an election in a landslide, winning all 7. Think of it, all 7 swing states, winning by the popular vote by millions of votes. We had it fantastic. The best is your districts. Out of 3,000 districts, I guess we won 3,500. We won 2,750, and they won 500. And that's, to me, the best of all. And we had tremendous in every way the election. And it's hard to believe you can do that when you have a corrupt media. But many of you are corrupt, and there's nothing we can do about it. But we keep winning, and we're going to keep winning. And this whole story in crime is incredible that the Democrats wouldn't be with us. So the mayor of Chicago, I watched him this morning, he said, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He only apprehended 9 people. Well, number one, that's false. It's thousands. We'll get into that. But more importantly than anything, we took guns away. We have some of the worst career professionals out of the country already. They've been taken out of the country, and some are in solid confinement because these were killers. We arrested some very bad people. And in the last 11 days, again, I hate to say it because it sounds so ridiculous, but in the last 11 days, we've had no murders. And that's the first time that's taken place in years, actually years. We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered, your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered, see the media, you get murdered. Many of you have been mugged in Washington, you just don't want to talk about it. And I know that every time I do this with you almost with everything, but every time I do this with you people say to yourselves, he's right, and then you write a negative story. But we are doing an incredible job. The people behind me are amazing. We're working very well with the Washington police, as you know. The DC National Guard is unbelievable. We're also getting tremendous help from Secret Service. And we are at a point where Washington is booming again. People are pouring in like we haven't seen for years. Nobody wanted to come here. They didn't want to come here and get murdered. I have a friend of mine who has a very successful son. And I said, where is your son going to be this weekend? He said he's going to Washington with his friends. I said, really? Yeah, he's wanted to do it for 4 years, but he couldn't do it because it was so unsafe. And he's a tough kid, too. Yeah, it's so unsafe. And he ended up staying 3 nights, going out to restaurants all 3 nights. He said it was so beautiful, so peaceful. Because all the criminals are either arrested or they're hiding. And we're finding the ones that are hiding. So I want to thank Pam Bondi. I want to thank our Vice President. I want to thank road down to the dirt, and then they spend 5 years in building the new one, and then it starts settling. You know, the whole thing is so crazy. And they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a road. I'll spend about $2, and it'll look better. So we're going to be replacing medians. We're going to be replacing much of the asphalt in the road, which in the city, which is in bad shape. We have great stripers. We have great contractors, but we have to let them do the thing. The Congress has said that they'll give us whatever money is needed to fix up the Capitol. This is the Capitol. And we're not going to spend a lot. It's going to go fast. And it will be spotless. And we want it spotless for the World Cup and for the Olympics. You saw the World Cup was here the other day. And come to think of it, there's your trophy for the World Cup. In fact, it's solid gold. That's actually solid gold. So heavy that some of the people in this room wouldn't be able to lift it. I think what I'm going to do is place it right above the angel, right over there. That's solid gold too. We're going to put it right up there. Look at it. There's a solid gold trophy. they know how to get to me, you know? I like the angel better, to be honest with you. So, we're gonna sign, and then we'll take a few questions, and we'll tell you how good a job we're doing. We wanna go from here to other places, but I was telling some of the people that in a certain way, you really want to be asked to go. You know, I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzker. He had to spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we saved Los Angeles. You wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred, because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in. I don't know, they have a political thing about it. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I don't like going to a town, city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at DC, crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days there have been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. Haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But you know, you have people, I watched in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster what's going on in Chicago. And you get a Pritzker, he's violating our rights. I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those, you know, they call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97-3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, you know, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it will be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to all of you, in a certain way we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control, you know, out of control. So we go in and fix it, they take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning, they're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set record lows. They don't say that we're there with very tough people, by the way. They have to pass the toughness test, otherwise they're not working for us. So, and we're allowed to do that now according to the United States Supreme Court decision. Now they have to pass the toughness test. If they're not tough, we don't want them for this job. They might be great for other jobs, but not for this job, because they're respected. You saw the gang of kids, they were all huddled up, and a group of soldiers walked up. They never even got over. Those kids ran back to their homes or wherever the hell they came from. They were gone. This is one of the safest cities right now in the world, as crazy as that sounds. And it took 7 days. It took really 3 days, but we're now on our 11th day. So I want to thank you. So we had all of these things, 439 illegal alien criminals have been removed, and we have 6 known gang members, some of the worst leaders of gangs anywhere in the country, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. With 2 missing children that have been recovered. They thought they were gone. We brought them back to the family. The family started crying. They couldn't believe that they saw their child again. 49 homeless encampments have been removed. Like we have the head of South Korea coming in a little while, the president, and he drives down the street. Already, his people have told me, he said, what happened? It's so clean. We always came here, it was filthy dirty with homeless and papers all over the road. That's the other thing. Those roads are swept immaculate, but they're gonna be much better in a few months when we put a topping on them. They're gonna look like they're brand new. We'll get rid of those rusty old medians that have been crashed into 1,000 times, and they don't fix them. They just let them, they lay them down on the road and they sit there for months. But we don't do that. We don't run things. We run things like we run this. We like clean, we like beautiful, we like safe, and that's what we're getting. So I'll start signing the executive orders. To me, this is a very, very big deal. One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail, we're ending it. But we're starting by ending it in DC, and that we have the right to do through federalization. Okay, let's go. Could I ask you to say exactly what this is?
Of course. So, as you've consistently identified, sir, cashless bail policies are a key driver of the disorder we see on city streets all over America. Catch and release system allows criminals to keep going back out onto the street and reoffending. What this executive order does, it charges your attorney general with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies, and then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
So what area does it cover?
Potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy, so some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America.
Almost all of them, right?
Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bail. You don't even have to
Or
go to court
Arkansas.
for the tax. No, Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They throw him out of the family business and he becomes governor. Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with us. But this is just, we gotta bring our country back. Okay? That's a big one.
Also on the issue of cashless bail, sir, this is a DC-specific executive order. In addition to the measures that we're taking that are quite similar to what we're doing around the country, in DC in particular, the objective is holding as many criminal defendants in federal custody and subjecting them to federal charges as possible. That means that they'll be held pre-trial in federal jail as opposed to just being cut back out on the streets due to a cashless bail policy.
Okay? But we have the room. And by the way, the prison they have in DC is horrible. It's horrible. People were subjected to live in that dog trap for so long, so unfairly. I have stories you'll be hearing about them. The prison is horrible. Okay?
This is an executive order that contains a number of additional measures relating to crime and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. It charges, for example, your Secretary of Defense with establishing specialized units in both the D.C. National Guard and the National Guard units around the country, specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. It charges all of your various federal law enforcement agencies with hiring additional personnel to allow them to search personnel to Washington, D.C. to deal with the current emergency here. It does a number of other things in that space, and it also asks the Attorney General to look at D.C. Metropolitan Police general orders that have currently impeded law enforcement efforts in the city, and to potentially look at unwinding those that are stopping the police from doing their job effectively.
And are we gonna ask this to be codified by Congress, all of these things?
I think we could potentially, yes, sir.
I think so. I think we should. I think we'll get it. I think Democrats will vote. Well, it's hard to believe that they might not, but I think Democrats will actually vote for this. There's no auto pen that can do that. Right? Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can write like that? Nobody. I don't know. That's the other thing. I assume we're looking at the whole auto pen scam.
Sir.
Because the person that ran it said he spoke to it briefly twice about nothing. That means that all those pardons that he gave to some very bad people, very unpatriotic people, very evil people, it looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Because number one, you shouldn't use an auto pen, very specifically. But if you do, it has to be a very good reason. And they have to know that the president wanted it. The president didn't want this. The president didn't know he was alive, okay? He never approved any of this stuff. He wasn't for open borders and all the other things. He was never for open borders. I've known Biden a long time. He was never very sharp, but he was never in favor of open borders and all of the other things he did to destroy our country. Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they? Incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you heard any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing to stop it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way it's equally as important. Some people say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented. It was a great meeting. But your country's respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved. And this group has a lot to do with it, right behind me. Does anybody behind me have anything? Pam, would you like to say something?
Sure, President. Thank you for keeping DC safe. You know, just a couple examples of a mother, a single mom, whose house was burglarized, and the defendant got out on cashless bail, went back the next night and burglarized her house again. That's why this is so important. A man got in a fight with another guy. He had a gun. He was let out. Next night, he got up, went back and killed him. So that's why it's so important, President, what you're doing. And thank you for protecting the American flag. And we'll do that without running afoul of the First Amendment as well. And President, I think I think Gabby Serralta had something he wanted to give you on behalf of all the law enforcement who are out there at the
Mr.
scene.
President, yes, thank you for putting me in charge of this surge. As the Director of the United States Marshal Service, it's the oldest law enforcement agency. It was created in 1789. So on behalf of all the federal law enforcement agencies that we're working with and those that have yet to join the team, we thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. And this badge comes with this little item right here, which is a handcuff key, Mr. President, because you continue through your policies and your efforts with your staff to unhandcuff law enforcement officers all over this nation. And I can tell you personally that they thank you for that.
Thank you. That's
You
beautiful.
continue unhandcuffing law enforcement.
That's a very great honor. I'll save that and put it someplace up, which is important. Thank you very much, Gary. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really nice, thank you. That's very nice, thank you. Well, we love those people. They're brave and they love our country and they don't want to see it. Do you know how many people volunteered for this job? And before I ask the VP to say a few words, because he feels very strongly about it, I think it's very important, Pam, that when we do this, that the state required, they come and ask us. I mean, I see Pritzker saying, we don't want them. In the meantime, the city is being shot to hell. And they do that politically. And they probably do want it. If we didn't go to Los Angeles, you would literally have had to call off the Olympics. It was so bad. And the sheriff and the law enforcement people, but the sheriff said, and he came out very strongly, he said, if we didn't have these people, we were not able to control. Now, 4 days later, after we had it totally under control, we did that quickly. He changed his tune a little bit. Well, I think we could have done it. They were dead. If we didn't send in the troops, Los Angeles was dead, the Olympics was gone, the World Cup was gone, everything was gone. We did a great job. And Newsom got an incompetent, he's an incompetent governor. But I think people should want us to be there, because otherwise all they'll do is complain as we do our job. So we'll have to think about that, okay? We go in, like in Washington, we go in and the people that are here that have been doing, I don't want to say terrible, because she happens, she's a nice woman, yes. I don't care about if she's nice, I really don't care. I want her to do, I'd rather have her be horrible, but do the job. But we come into Washington and we have the 11 best days they've had here in 2 centuries. I mean, they've never seen anything like it. Let's go 2 decades. In over 20 years, they haven't seen anything like what happened. And now they're out there saying, we don't have crime in Washington. Well, that's true. For 11 days, you don't have crime. But before that, everybody was getting hit and mugged, and you people could not walk to your office without security. That's how unsafe it was.
Come on
So
now.
I think we should really let them have their city, let their city go to hell.
Lock up all the black
Beg us to
people
hell.
down in your state.
The only problem is we want to save it for the big, because the people want us there. The people here, 95% of the people here want us. The real people, not the people you find. I don't know where you find these people. You have one person has a broken nose, where you get it? Well, I was mugged. Good. Do you want to see Trump here with? No, I don't want. A woman has a broken nose. She got mugged. But she's saying she doesn't want any protection. It's all made up fake news. It's just fake news. I don't know where you find these people. Anyway, would you say a couple of words, please? And then I'm going to ask JD to say something. You have done an unbelievable job in a short period of time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Highly recommended by,
We need someone
you know,
black
who,
up
right?
there.
Yes, sir.
Where's
You want to say
my
something?
Mr. Youngkin, Governor Youngkin, yes, sir.
We stole you from
He
Governor.
called me,
Right.
Glenn Youngkin called, and he said, I have somebody who's really fantastic. And based on that recommendation, here you are. You've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department are back. They enjoy doing their job again. They feel the ability to go out and be law enforcement officers. They feel that they're connected to their communities again. They are making a difference. Thanks to you, Mr. President, and our federal task force, you are
Federal's
making
not
DC
supposed to
safe
be out there.
once again. Thank you, sir.
It's gonna get better and better. Well, it can't get much better, there's no crime. I read where crime's down 89%. I said, really? Who are the 11%? Okay, there's no crime. JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Mr. President. Thanks to the incredible team here. You know, I was, want to echo something the President said where you say there have been murders in a couple of weeks in D.C., and it doesn't sound good, but then you talk to local law enforcement, and I didn't realize this, that this town averaged one murder every other day for the last 20, 30 years, which means that in 2 short weeks, the President and the team have saved 6 or 7 lives, people who would have been killed on the streets of D.C., who are now living, breathing, spending time with their families because the President had the willpower to say, no more. We're not going to give the streets of D.C. over to vagrants and robbers and murderers. And the last point I want to make, sir, to your point about we want people to welcome us, to ask us, because look at Governor Pritzker in Illinois, or Governor Newsom in Los Angeles, or Governor Moore in Maryland. They are angrier about the fact that the President of the United States is offering to help them get their crime under control than they are about the fact that murderers are running roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But, Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help. And I hope these governors take you up on the offer because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
And we've got the people to do it. They're signing up like they've never signed up before. Our military, as you know, during the campaign, nobody was signing up. We were way short of their goal, we were understaffed. Nobody wanted to be in the military, nobody wanted to be a policeman, nobody wanted to be a fireman. They didn't want anything to do with the country. We had an incompetent, grossly incompetent president who frankly should not have been there. He should have never been there. The damage he did to this country is incalculable. I mean, just what he has done. So much of our effort are getting murderers and jailbirds and people out of this country who are drug dealers at the highest level. So much of the energy of people that he let in, it was an unforced error. But I don't think they think it's an error, but I don't believe he believed it. It was the radical lunatics that surrounded this guy at this desk, who are brilliant people, but with the wrong philosophy. There were some brilliant people, but they're evil people, and they're gonna be brought down. They have to be brought down, because they really hurt our country. But we're getting it back very quickly, and I'll tell you something, our country's now it's stronger. I think we're more respected than we've been respected in 100 years. That's a whole different ballgame. JD, could I ask you,
Yes, sir.
You gave a stat on murders here. What were the numbers? You said in a short period of time, how many people were murdered?
Local law enforcement told me, sir, that in the past 20 or 30 years, DC has averaged a murder every other day. That's, 200 murders a year, 150, 250, but about every other day a person has been killed on the streets of Washington, D.C. We've been doing this for 2 weeks. 0 people killed. That's real lives saved that the media and frankly the entire Democratic Party should be saying, thank you for saving lives instead of attacking the President of the United States for doing so.
You know, when a person, unfortunately, will probably happen at some point, when a person's murdered in D.C., it's going to be the biggest story maybe in history. Right?
Yes, sir.
Somebody was murdered in D.C., Trump is failing. No, we're not failing. We have a safe city. This is maybe the safest city in America right now. That's how good it is. And it would be nice to be appreciated. These people eventually, they're going to have to be appreciated for what they're doing. And they're going to have to be appreciated by the officials that are really happy when we go in because they've lost control of their place. Steve Miller, please, say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So just to, first of all, follow up on what the Vice President said. No police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work with the police for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. We've checked their records. No one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as you've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. Additionally, and the President spoke about this before, we've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in the city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. You know, I've had a chance to spend some time, as did everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude. Because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People have changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs. And the last thing I'll say is that under the efforts of Terry, to my left and many here, what they found also is that the street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels and foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we're uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
Thank you very much, Steve. You know, in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills is, you know, a great place. I have a house there. I had a house there. I used to stay a lot of time, spend a lot of time there. And a great place. You know that I have friends, they leave their trunk open for their car because they don't want, they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in the back. They leave the doors open, so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, that they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open, so the criminals, when they go and open the door, they have to break the windows and kill the guard.
Over our southern border, or our northern border, or maritime seas, and then they committed crimes against the American people. So by getting those individuals incarcerated, we've stopped those violent crimes from happening here in the city. And sir, they do. Exactly like Stephen was talking, they have ties to cartels. They have networks across this country and other cities. So by what you're doing here is going to have a ripple effect in Miami, in Chicago, in other cities, because you're grabbing those networks and giving us information and targeting information to go and get more criminals across this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We have ICE and CBP, Federal Protective Services, Secret Service, HSI, all of our officers are working with all the other agencies every day here in DC, and they're so proud to have this kind of partnership. So we're so glad that you're letting them do their jobs again. And I don't know if you've heard, sir, but the recruitment campaign for ICE, when we were going to hire 10,000 new officers, we've got over 130,000 people that have applied and raised their hands and said they want to work with ICE. So no matter what the fake news says or what the media says about ICE not having support, they've got incredible support from the American people. People want to join them and help them do what they're doing to make America safe again. So thank you for that.
I was going to say that our recruitment drive, so it was dead. During the campaign, they couldn't get, every story was the Army can't fill up, the Marines, none of them could fill up. They were way behind. We couldn't get anybody to go into the military, couldn't get any police. We've just set records on everybody wants to be in, everybody wants to go in. And we're taking incredible people. I mean, the level of, you know, because of the Supreme Court, it's based on merit. It's all based on merit now. It's not based on anything else. You gotta, if you need strong people, you have to get strong people. It's all based on merit. but we're setting records in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard. One of my favorites, because I happen to have created it, Space Force. We're very proud of Space Force. It's amazing what it's doing. We're leading in space now. China was killing us. Russia was beating us. China was killing us. We're now killing China. We are leading in space by a lot because of Space Force. So we're very proud. But everybody wants to go in. We went from not, and you know how bad that is for the spirit when every story that you were writing a year ago was that nobody wants to go into the military anymore. And if you're in the military, you know how deflating that is. You go home to your family. Nobody wants the job that you have. Well, now it's the opposite. Everybody wants to be there. And that includes police and fire and everything else. We've done a good job. We stopped a lot of wars. just the presence we're stopping them. We've stopped 7 wars, and really the number is actually 10. We're not including a couple, and we're not including in there what we did with Iran, stopping their nuclear play. They would have had within a month or two, they would have had a nice big nuclear weapon to use. That's not going to happen. That won't happen. Pete, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for your leadership, and the Defense Department is proud to be a part of this task force. Just like we have been down at the southwest border, where crossings are at 0, we've got national defense areas where we're working with Border Patrol to secure the southern border for the American people. Just like Los Angeles, where ICE officers deserve to do their job without being attacked, we're really proud to be a part of defending the nation's capital and ensuring it is safe and beautiful and working with law enforcement. And Mr. President, let me tell you, the morale of the troops, getting out there talking to them, they love this mission. They're grateful to be doing it, whether they're DC National Guard or other state National Guards. And at your direction as well, sir, it's just common sense to make sure they're armed as well. And so we're rolling out ensuring they're armed, capable of defending themselves and others if need be, supporting law enforcement, and we're proud to be there, sir.
Well, look at the mission you just accomplished with Iran. 36 hours back and forth, flawless. Every bomb hit its target. They went right down those chutes, dark at night, no moon, no nothing. Every target, every bomb went right down. They have a chute that goes right down deep into the mountain. And they shouldn't have put ventilation in, I can tell you, because we use that for our advantage. But what they did, and we had the pilots and even the people that took care of the planes, we had a whole group of people at the White House a couple of weeks ago. And you know, I didn't realize this, but they said, we've been looking at their predecessors, and then these were the pilots. They said, we gave them beautiful medals. And I'll show you the medal. Gave them the medal just like this. See? Just like that. They were so happy. They gave a lot of them out for that. It was an incredible job. You know, we had 52 tankers, people don't realize, so that they could refuel. We had many fighter jets, F-22s, F-35s, we had many. It was an amazing operation. It was flawless. Compare that to the operation when they went in with the helicopters crashing and everyone running around the desert, the prisoners being taken, and it was Jimmy Carter. What a horrible thing. This was the exact opposite. This was the exact opposite of what they did in leaving a very, very nice place. The Taliban runs a tough operation in Afghanistan. And I think it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. That was Biden. I was leaving, and we would have left with strength, tremendous strength. We would have had tremendous, we would have kept Bagram, which is the air base, one of the largest runways in the world, one of the most powerful. You can land anything on it, many, many feet thick. You don't build them that way anymore. You can't. But we left it, and now China's occupying that airbase. This was the most incompetent administration in history of the Biden administration. And you're just lucky that they lost, because if they won, you wouldn't have a country anymore. And so, Pete, you started off by saying the Department of Defense. And somehow it didn't sound good to me. You know, it didn't sound good. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? So it used to be called the Department of War. And it had a stronger sound. And as you know, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense with defenders. I don't know. If you people want to, standing behind me, if you take a little vote, if you want to change it back to what it was when we used to win wars all the time, that's okay with me. All right?
That's coming
You
soon,
you let me know if you want to do it. I think Department of War. It just sounded bad. He said, sir, on behalf of the Department of Defense. Defense? I don't want to be defense only. We want defense, but we want offense too, if that's okay. So you'll make a decision. But you know, as Department of War, we won everything. We won everything. And I think we're gonna have to go back to that. In the meantime, I've stopped all of these wars. I've stopped them. The big one would have been India and Pakistan. But we stopped them all. We stopped 3 wars. Go to Africa. They like to say, oh, you know, I love black people. And I did great with the vote with black people. But they say, he's a racist, he's a racist. I said, really? For 35 years, a war raged between Rwanda and the Republic of the Congo. And it was a vicious war. 9 million people were killed with machetes, largely. Hatchets, machetes. That went on for more than 30 years, but 34, 35 years. And I stopped it. In fact, the presidents are coming in a week or two to sign. We have the foreign ministers, it's all signed, the war stopped. But I got it stopped. It saved a lot of lives. The Congo, that's deepest, darkest Africa. I got that war stopped. Nobody else could have done that. We did a lot of jobs. We did a lot of wars were stopped that nobody thought would even be possible. And I'll tell you what, the war with India and Pakistan, that was the next level. That was going to be a nuclear war. They already shot down 7 jets. That was raging. And I said, you guys want to do trade? We're not doing any trade. We're not doing anything with you if you keep fighting. You get 24 hours to settle it. They said, well, there's no more war going. And I used that on numerous occasions. Trade, I used whatever you had to use. But we got 7 of them stopped. And the one I thought would be easiest, frankly, was going to be Russia and Ukraine. But that turns out to be some big personality conflicts. It's one of those things. But we're going to get that stopped eventually. We're going to get that stopped too. 7,000 soldiers died last week. Think of that, 7,000. I usually say 5,000, but 7,221 soldiers died last week in the fighting between Ukraine and Russia. And they're not our soldiers, but they're souls. They're living souls, and they leave their homes, and they wave to their parents, and their parents are so proud as they leave in a beautiful uniform, and a week later they get their head blown off by a drone. New form of military. It's a whole new form of fighting. So I would just like to thank the people that are behind me. Thank you very much. You've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it very much. We're doing a real job, and I'm so proud of DC. I passed it 2 days ago, and all the garbage is off the streets. It's terrible. I came in a month and a half ago. I'm driving down and I see garbage all over the place. The streets were a pigsty, like I won't use the city's names, but you know what I'm talking about. There are plenty of them outside of this country and inside of this country. Baltimore is a horrible, horrible deathbed. It's a deathbed. I know Governor Moore said, oh, he wants to take a walk with me. He meant it in a derogatory tone. I said, no, I'm the president of the United States. Clean up your crime and I'll walk with you. But it's tremendous crime. But he was trying to be derogatory. He doesn't have what it takes. But he's trying to be derogatory. And I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, oh, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you. He came over to me, he hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime. I said, but it's really nice that you say that. I'd love you to say it publicly, but I don't think you can do that, so it's okay. But no, sir, you're doing a fantastic job. I want to just shake your hand. Thank you very much, Governor. That was it. And then every time I see him on television, he's knocking the hell out of me. So, but that's all right. Let's call politics. But Governor Moore's he's doing a bad job. Newsom's doing a bad job. All of their potential candidates are doing a bad job. I can't imagine Pritzker being even a candidate, but somebody said he is. He can't do the work. He can't do the job. He's not temperamentally suited. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Do you have some questions?
Mr. President, is the Pentagon, and maybe the Secretary of Defense can weigh into, is the Pentagon preparing for military deployment to Chicago? And with what you said there,
Military deployment. This
We're ready to
is
go anywhere.
crazy.
We have a full complement of great human beings. We're full. You know, our military is full. We were
Military's
way
supposed-
empty 1 year ago. Now we're full.
Wow.
So we can go anywhere on less than 24 hours notice.
are you waiting for the
And we're doing a lot to interdict to stop drugs from coming in too. We have ships out on sea.
This doesn't
You know,
sit
we have
well
nobody
with
coming
me.
through our border anymore. Nobody. Doesn't that feel good to know that you don't have prisoners coming in and, you know, killers, murderers. We had 11,888 murderers come in, led in by the Biden administration. Many of them have been captured, but we still have a couple of thousand that are out there. Some of them, 50% of them killed more than one person, okay? But a lot of them have been captured. What they've done to our country, these people that circle this moron that we had behind this desk, what they've done to our country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. I mean, if you think so much of our time is devoted to correcting a problem that all they had to do is say, close the borders. Remember when he said, well, I have no power to close the border. I have to go back and get an act from Congress. I didn't get an act from Congress. I came in, I said, close the borders. And Tom Homan, who's not here, has been fantastic, Christy, right? Tom Homan is great. He's a fantastic man and respected by everybody. But I said, Tom, close the borders. Christy, close the borders. The borders are closed. We didn't go to Congress and get permission. We just closed the borders. And in the last 3 months, hard to believe this one too, in the last 3 months, we've had 0 people come into our country illegally through the southern border. Nobody would have said that's possible. Yeah, please.
Thank you, President, Mr. President. Today, MS-13 gangbanger and human trafficker Kilmar Abrego Garcia turned himself into ICE in Baltimore. Do you have any comment on this? And why are the Democrats so emotionally attached to this man who beats his wife and is part of a terrorist organization?
Because they think he's going to be good for votes, and I think he's very bad for votes. These people are deranged. He's not good for votes. He beat the hell out of his wife. His wife is afraid to even talk about him. She's been mauled by this animal. And, you know, through a system of liberal courts, you know, he's doing things, but, you know, we have that under control. And Pam has got that very much under control. Do you want to comment on it?
No, we've got him under control. He will no longer terrorize our country. He's currently charged with human smuggling, including children. The guy needs to be in prison. He doesn't need to be on the streets like all these liberals want him to be. And as part of this operation here in DC, we've also taken off MS-13 members. We've taken, I think just last night, we got a TDA guy off our streets right here, right around from where we all work. Another TDA member gone because of this project. So we're going to keep America safe from all of these foreign terrorist organizations, including Abrego Garcia.
Okay.
Mr. President, if we could get your reaction, sir. The Israelis bombed a hospital in Gaza, killed 20 people, including 5 journalists.
When did this happen?
This happened overnight, today.
I didn't know.
Any answer to this?
Well, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. I'm the one that got the hostages out. I got them out. All of them. Steve Woodcock has been amazing. He's done a great job. But I'm the one that got them all out through my people and through me. And now we're left with probably a little bit less than 20 because I think 1 or 2 are gone. And I said a long time ago, I'm going to get them out. But when we get down to that final 10 or 20, these people aren't going to release them because they're dead after they release them. So it's a nasty situation. Very nasty, horrible thing.
Mr.
Yes.
President, could you please elaborate on your post on South Korea? What were you referring to?
Well, I heard that there were raids on churches over the last few days, very vicious raids on churches by the new government in South Korea. That they even went into our military base and got information. They probably shouldn't have done that, but I heard bad things. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll be finding out. As you know, your new president's coming in just a couple of hours, coming here. I look forward to meeting him. But we won't stand for that. We just won't stand for that.
Are you prepared to order National Guard troops, though, into American cities if those governors don't request the federal deployment?
I am, but I also think that, look, Chicago, everybody knows how bad it is. Everybody's standing there, we know. You don't have to be doing any studies. They should be saying, please come in. Pritzker should be saying that. You know, I did a favor for Christy Whitmer, a good favor, I think, with the fish, the carp, the China carp. Did you ever hear of it? China carp. And it's taken over your Great Lakes, you know about that, right? And she came and she wanted to know if it's possible for us to do something about it. And I said, well, I'll do it. But I think it's appropriate that the person from Illinois, the governor from Illinois asks also. It's a tremendously expensive project, actually. It's invasive, it's horrible what's happened, and we can do it with GSA and various people, but we can do it. We're gonna just have to see what happens, okay? We're gonna have to see what happens, but the governor of Michigan came, was very respectful, asked for it. She's done a good job. I did that. I opened the Air Force Base, kept it open for F-35s and various planes, F-22s too. I did that for the state of Michigan at her request. And I will, and also with our congressmen, we have congressmen that are unbelievably pro-Michigan up there. But some of this stuff, like the lakes, the Great Lakes, this is a big problem that nobody ever talks about. Most of you probably have never heard of. We have a pretty violent fish that comes from China, China carp, Chinese carp. And you see them jumping out, they jump into boats and they jump all over the place. They've got a lot of energy. And there's a way of getting rid of them. It's very expensive. And I didn't get a request from the governor of Illinois, who is affected maybe more than anybody else, right? And I think until I get that request from that guy, I'm not going to do anything about it. And I feel the same way about crime. We go in, we will solve Chicago within 1 week, maybe less, but within 1 week we will have no crime in Chicago, just like we have no crime in DC. But, I don't like to go in and do it and then have somebody stand up and say what a great job he's doing on crime. And we don't want the military in our state. We don't want the military. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yeah, these governors.
So I don't know. So we're going to have a little meeting. I think, I feel like we go in and we do it, like here. To a lesser extent with the mayor. She hasn't been terrible, but she hasn't been, exactly saying, oh, great. She did say last night, I heard her say that, well, we really don't want the military in D.C. Well, that's, not very nice, I guess. That's a little bit of it. But she's not as bad as some. We saved Los Angeles, and all we did is get criticized by this idiot that's running the state into the ground, right? Where people are leaving. He should be thanking us, and he should be requesting us to be there. And the governor of Illinois should be. Chicago's a disaster. And the governor of Illinois should say, President, would you do us the honor of cleaning up our city? We need help. They need help. They need help. We may wait. We may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. The problem is, it's not nice when you go in and do it and somebody else is standing there saying, as we give great results, say, we don't want the military. They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. Just look at the crime statistics. Look at the statistics that JD said about, even I didn't know it was that bad. That's terrible. But all I know is we're being celebrated because we went an entire week. Now it's 11 days. We went an entire week without a murder. And I said, boy, that sounds terrible. I didn't know how to, actually made a speech. I didn't know how to say it. Because it's a great number, it's a great thing, but it sounds so bad. I mean, supposing you're from a foreign country which is properly run, and they don't have murders and things, right, so much, or in some cases virtually at all. And you have somebody saying, I'm proud to announce that nobody was murdered in the capital of the United States this week. It sounds terrible, but...
Mr. President, Gavin Newsom, you mentioned Gavin Newsom on crime.
Gavin Newsom, yes.
Is there a federal mechanism you're hoping to use to fight back against his redistricting constitutional amendment, or is that...
Well, I think I'm going to be filing a lawsuit pretty soon, and I think we're going to be very successful in it. We're going to be filing it through the Department of Justice. That's going to happen. And we're also going to be filing a lawsuit on blue slipping. Blue slips make it impossible for me as president to appoint a judge or a U.S. attorney because they have a gentleman's agreement. It's nothing memorialized. It's a gentleman's agreement that's about 100 years old, where if you have a president like a Republican, and if you have a Democrat senator, that senator can stop you from appointing a judge or a U.S. attorney. In particular, those are the two, I guess anything, but those are the two that are very important. So we have numerous states where we have unbelievable people. Now, Jay Clayton was just approved in the Southern District, but he was so good. He was a top student, top schools, top everything, went to Sullivan and Cromwell, became the head of Sullivan and Cromwell, came down here, was Securities and Exchange Commission, ran it for 4 years during my term, like impeccably, beautiful job. He did an incredible job. And we went to court, and the judges, Democrat judges, voted that he could, that's the only way you get by, but generally speaking, you can't do that because you'll have judges from the other party. So, so Jay Clayton just got approved, and he's in, but he didn't get approved by the senators, he got approved by the court system in New York, which was a great thing. And I had a big victory in New York, I might add. I saved myself $500 million with a fake, corrupt attorney general, a really corrupt person with a corrupt judge who was disgraceful, and they're being mauled right now by everybody. It's so corrupt, and it kept business out of New York, stuff like that. But the appellate division vacated all of that stuff that you read about, and we're going to do a big number on that whole thing. You can't have a corrupt court system. You can't have that. You have to have borders, and you have to have a free press. Otherwise, you don't have a country. But you'll be hearing about the blue slipping, because if you have not, you don't need 2 senators. You just need 1 Democrat senator with a Republican. The only person that I can get approved are Democrats, or maybe weak Republicans, but we don't want that. But the only person I will be able to get approved in any of those states where you have a Democrat I can't get a U.S. attorney. I can only get a Democrat U.S. attorney. And this is based on an old custom. It's not based on law, and I think it's unconstitutional. And I'll probably be filing a suit on that pretty soon. Yeah, please.
During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist. For the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical? And is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example, as a real estate person, if I have an agreement and I have any form of a stopgap where I can stop somebody from doing something, right? I have a covenant and an agreement, and they come to me and they say, would like to do something, but you have us restricted. If I do that, they usually have to pay. Now, in the case of Intel, it was interesting, but I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it. Intel came in. I met with the gentleman. I had a lot of respect for him. He came in under a little bit of a cloud. I liked his story. I thought he was good. I think he really means to do a good job with Intel. I said, I'd like to ask whether or not you because the kind of story, a lot of people said I invested in it. I didn't invest, but I invest my heart in it and my soul because I want the country to be strong. But I said, I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, if you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it, a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal. And I just made $10 billion or $11 billion for the United States of America. And yeah, there will be other cases. If I had that opportunity again, I would do that. And then, you do have stupid people say, oh, that's a shame. That's not a shame. It's called business. If somebody's willing to give you 10% of a company and you're not paying for it, and I will tell you, with a company like Intel, as you know, it's had difficulty. I want them to do well. I want them to do well anyway, but I want them to do well in particular.
But isn't public ownership of a private company a new way of doing business in the business of the United States? Isn't that what you were
So it has. So as you know, the stock market went up almost 1,000 points on Friday. And it went up not because of this very, I think, terrible, hello, who is that back there? Get out of the room. It went up because of something much different. It went up because it was announced, CBO announced the numbers, and as you know, they gave no credit to tariffs. They said they made a mistake, that the trade deficit will be reduced because of Trump's tariffs, will be reduced by $4 trillion, right? Is that what they said, right? They said $4 trillion, and the market went up like a rocket ship because the tariffs are good. Well, tariffs aren't that usual. If the 7 wars I stopped, 4 of them were because of the fact that I had tariffs and trade. And I was able to say, well, if you do this, if you go fight and you want to kill everybody, that's okay. But I'm going to charge you each 100% tariff when you trade with us. You know what? They all gave up. I stopped 7 wars. Numerous of them was because of tariffs. So, you never knew the word tariff. It didn't exist really, essentially, in this country until actually in the 1870s up till 1913 it existed. And we were the richest country. We were richer then, proportionately, than at any time in the history of our country. And then, stupidly, in 1913, they said, let's go to the income tax way of life. Let the people pay instead of foreign countries. No. We're taking in trillions of dollars in tariffs, and we're stopping wars because of tariffs. So that's not so normal either. But you know what? Other countries did it to us, and now we're doing it to other countries.
You rolled out boots on the ground in Ukraine, but how would air support as part of a security guarantee be any different? Those U.S.
You really went from one question to the next. I expected him to at least challenge you. Now we're talking about boots on the ground.
But U.S. air assets over the skies of Ukraine as part of a security guarantee, would those U.S. airmen also be?
Well, you don't know what security guarantee is because we haven't even discussed the specifics of it. And we'll see. Number one, Europe is going to give them significant security guarantees, and they should because they're right there. But we'll be involved from the standpoint of backup. We're going to help them. And I think if we get a deal, and I think we will, but if we get a deal, you're not going to, I don't believe you're going to have much of a problem. But we'll back it up because I want to stop seeing people being killed. You know, when Biden was here, he gave $350 billion. You know this from covering business. $350 billion to Ukraine. I said that Zelensky's the greatest salesman I think I've ever met, better than P.T. Barnum, because he'd come to the country and walk out with $50 billion every time. He actually came here once, he walked out with $100 billion. We're up to $350 billion. I got $1 trillion worth of rare earth that we have for the country because I felt badly for our taxpayer. But I did something else at the NATO meeting. They are wealthy countries, but they weren't paying. And we don't pay any money to Ukraine anymore. Do you know that? In fact, it's the opposite. They request through NATO, we deal with NATO, we don't deal really with Ukraine. NATO requests missiles, they want Patriots, they want missiles. We give the missiles to NATO, NATO pays us in full and does what they want. I mean, I think they give them mostly to, they could do other things with them too because we're dealing with NATO. We pay no money to Ukraine. We gave $350 billion to Ukraine. You know, if we didn't give that kind of money, and I was the one that gave the javelins, if you remember. I gave the javelins, they were very effective. They say Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. They were very effective with those tanks right at the beginning. But you would have never had a war if I were president. You would have never had a war. Just to finish, we spend no money on Ukraine anymore. We were getting fleeced by a president that didn't know what he was doing. To be honest, I don't blame Ukraine. I mean, if they come and ask for $100 billion, then they get it. But we were in for $350 billion. Now, we make money. I don't want to make money on Ukraine. I want the war to end because I want to save all those lives. I want to just say, but just so you understand, we're no longer losing money on that thing. We were losing money hand over fist. And now we don't lose any money. Now we sell weapons to NATO. Because NATO agreed, because of me, to go to 5%. They had 2% and didn't pay. Now they have 5% and they're all paid up. So they have trillions of dollars and they give us that money. But I really want the war to end, and we're going to get it ended.
Mr. President, what is this historic summit here with Ukrainian President Zelensky and European leaders all met here with you at the White House? You said you wanted to get this done bilateral as soon as possible. Have you spoken to Putin since last Monday?
Yeah, I have.
What is your conversation?
Every conversation I have with him is a good conversation, and then unfortunately a bomb is loaded up into Kiev or someplace, and then I get very angry about it. I think we're gonna get the war done. It's tough. I thought that would be, of the 7 that I settled, I thought that would be the easiest of the group. See, you never know what's gonna happen. You're in a war. Strange things happen in war. The fact that he went to Alaska, our country, I think was a big statement that he wants to get it done. That was not easy for him to go to Alaska, for him to come here. But the fact that he showed up on a very successful, that was a very successful day for other things. Because, we're also talking about missiles, nuclear, we're talking about a lot of different things. We're talking about limiting nuclear weapons, we'll get China into that. We have the most, Russia has the second most, and China has third, but China is way behind, but they'll catch us in 5 years. We would like to denuclearize. It's too much power. And we talked about that also, that's part of it. But we have to get the war over with.
Thank you. On Baltimore, you said that you are going to have to reconsider bridge funding. Is that contingent on Westmore cleaning up the streets?
No, we were very generous to him on a bridge. A boat ran into a bridge and the bridge came down like I've never seen anything. The boat was it just shows you the mass of that boat, the power of that boat. People were up on that bridge, painters, they were painting the bridge and they were watching it happen. And they thought they were very safe. They all died. They were painting the bridge, can you imagine? And they watched the boat. The engines were off, and they watched the boat, and the power of that boat, the mass of that boat, went right through the steel just like it was nothing. It's amazing. It's called mass. Mass is a big deal. But the mass of that boat, those people all died. But they thought they were totally safe. They were eating their lunch. They were, whatever. They were watching it. They could have gotten off. Somebody did a very good job. A police officer called in and said, close the bridge, and he did it with power. Get everybody off the bridge, close. That guy should get a medal because he stopped the bridge. A lot of people would have died, a lot more people would have died. The ones that died were the workers on the bridge. And they thought there was no danger because, it's a big steel bridge. And it came down like toothpicks. It was incredible to watch that. It was just, and they died, they all died. But that police officer, again, the police do a great job. The police officer did an amazing job. And I heard the tapes. He was saying, get everybody off. Most people wouldn't have said that. When you see a thing like that, you assume it's going to, tap the bridge and it's going to be rebuffed. The thing just came down. I've never seen anything like it. So he did a good job. In fact, I think we should get him in for a medal. The man that gave the warning, I listened to it. Everybody get off screaming. Everybody off. He had the sense to realize that this could be a catastrophe as opposed to a ship that's because the engines weren't working. It's just floating. It's an amazing thing that a thing floating like that with no power just knocked it right down like it was nothing. Let's do that. Let's give him a medal. I've been thinking about it.
Mr. Sir, do you plan to investigate Chris Christie?
Say what?
Do you plan to investigate Chris Christie?
Look, Chris is a slob. Everybody knows it. I know Chris better than anybody in the room. I always felt he was guilty. But what he did is he took the George Washington Bridge, which is very serious. He closed down the George Washington Bridge. And you had medical people, you had ambulances caught up. This thing was closed down. And obviously he knew about it. But he blamed the young lady that worked for him and another person, and they got into a lot of trouble. She ultimately was, I don't know, exonerated, but she got out of it a little bit. But she went through hell. She was a young mother, nice person, I knew her a little bit. And another man went to jail. And Chris got off. And so when I listened to Chris speak his hate, I say, oh, what about the George Washington Bridge? Tell me about the George Washington Bridge. He blamed other people, but he knew all about it. So no, I don't know if they want to look at it. Not for me. If they want to look at it, they can. You can ask Pam. I think we have other things to do, but I always thought he got away with murder.
Mr. President, you mentioned an endorsement in the Texas Senate race between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn.
Well, I'll make up my mind. I like them both. The worst situation I have is when I have two people that I get along with well. I hate it. And they all want the endorsement. I'm almost 100% of the people I endorse win. It's a great honor. And I got, as you know, I got the largest vote in the history of Texas by far. Nobody's ever gotten more votes in the last election. I think in all the elections, the 3 elections, but they like me in Texas. So people are waiting for me, but I'd rather not comment on it right now. I like both guys. They're both friends of mine, and they're both good and very different.
There's some talk among congressional Republicans about another reconciliation bill. Where do you fall on that, and what would you like to prioritize?
Well, I don't want to do cutting. I want to save all the different things. I'm going to cut things that are unnecessary, but the one thing I said, and I gave my word, we're not going to hurt anybody on Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. And in fact, we're doing great on Social Security. We found 300,000 illegals on Social Security. We got them out. And, you know, things like that make Social Security very, very strong. So, no, I am very big into certain things, and one of those 3, you could say 3 of those things are Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We're going to protect it. And so we'll see how everything works out. If we're talking about rescissions on other things, I'm always open to cost cutting. If we can cost cut, I like it, but nothing's going to happen to medical. We have something coming up, favored nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,500% where a pill that sells in Germany for $10 costs $150 here because of the bad price. And I was all set to do it, and then we had the COVID come up, and I had to focus on that because we had the greatest economy in history my first term. I will tell you that we are going to be doing numbers on the cost of drugs in this country that I'm not talking about a 20% decrease, which would be good. I'm talking about 1,000% decrease. We're talking about where a product would sell for $80 in Germany and $1,300 here. We're not going to do that. We were subsidizing the entire world, and we're not doing it anymore. I informed the drug companies, I informed the world. And if the world wants to, if countries in the world don't want to go along, then I'm going to put tariffs on those countries, and we'll make more money. But they have to go along with it. So this is moving along rapidly. Dr. Oz is in charge, Bobby's group, and they do it very well. And we're getting great cooperation from the drug, because the drug companies know it's unfair. You know, for years they'd say, well, we had to do research, and we had to. I said, I don't care, you had to do research for these other countries also. They are ready to go, and I'm ready to go. And you know, if I pull that off, there's no way a Republican will lose an election. There's no way. All right, one more question. Steve, what's this guy? He's the nicest guy I know, and he asks the most vicious questions.
Why do you think President Putin is so reluctant to meet with President Zelensky?
Because he doesn't like him. He doesn't like him. You know, they don't like. I have people I don't like. I don't like to meet with them. Sometimes I do like to meet with people I don't like. They don't like each other, really. And if we had a real president instead of a guy that got in there with a fraudulent election, if we had a real president, that war would have never happened. Putin actually said, if Trump were president, it wouldn't have happened. Happened for a lot of reasons. Happened because of Afghanistan, when he saw how incompetent really was, and all these guys were. I think he said, wow, this might be, because it was the apple of his eye. It would have never happened if I were president.
Mr. President, you have good relationship with Russian leaders and also North Korean leaders. As they are getting closer, how would that affect your diplomatic approach?
Well, I have very good relationships with Kim Jong-un, North Korea. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, that's terrible. No, it's good. In fact, someday I'll see him. I look forward to seeing him. He was very good with me. We had 2 meetings, we had 2 summits. We got along great. I know him better than you do. I know him better than anybody, almost, other than his sister. His sister knows him pretty well. Now, I know him well, and I got along with him. You know, I'm not supposed to say I really like him a lot, because if I do that, I get killed in the fake news media. But I got along with him very well, and we had no problem. If at the time Hillary Clinton won the election, you would have had a nuclear war.
Yeah,
you would have had a nuclear war.
I believe that.
We're not going to have a nuclear war. Once that happens, it's over. We're not going to have a nuclear war. No, but Kim Jong-un will meet at some point. I look forward to it, actually. But you notice that since I came into office, you haven't had a problem with him. Hasn't been. You know, he tests lots of rockets. He does have great capability, I will say that. But I think a lot of good things are happening for our country. A lot of really good things. And the thing we're here today to talk about is crime, and specifically in DC. I am so proud of what these people, every one of them, what they've done in DC, because to literally stop crime on a button. I'd walk down that street right now. If I were, friends of mine are going out to dinner now. They haven't gone out to dinner in 4 years. They were petrified. Half the restaurants closed because nobody could go because they're afraid to go outside. Now those restaurants are opening and new restaurants are opening up. It's like a boom town. It's a great thing to see, and I'm very proud of the people behind me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Wow, that was such an interesting meeting. I must say that Trump is the best president that we've had, I guess, since I've been able to vote. I support Trump like 99% of what he's accomplished and what he is doing for this country. I truly believe that if Kamala Harris and Tampon Tim would have been elected into office, our borders would still be open. We would be on the verge of World War III.
But that doesn't mean we're going to agree with everything that Trump does. And Trump.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're not going to agree with everything that Trump does. Like, we aren't in agreement with this. We aren't in agreement with, what's his name? Daniel Penny.
Oh yeah, it's different things, and like we've said numerous times, as people are saying, "Oh, y'all just gonna everything Trump does, like we're in agreement with it." But I'm not in agreement 100% of any relationship I even have been in. No one agrees with anyone 100%. If I have a concern, that does not mean that that's going to trump me from supporting him. But that's speaking out, and that's what democracy is all about: speaking out against what you feel as though is an overstep, or you feel as though that it doesn't go along with your own virtues and your own convictions. So I feel like that's what makes our leaders better to serve the communities that they're elected to serve. So when they don't hear from different segments of the communities, and they're not hearing from the people that they're supposed to represent all of us, then that's a disservice to us. So when it's something that's going to affect the Black community, it would be behooving to us if we don't say anything so that people can have an understanding. You're only going to get the understanding from the people of that particular community. Like if you're Asian, I can't relate to what you're going through or what's happening because I'm not Asian.
JM 1981, you're for men and female sports.
So when we give our perspective, it's according to what's happening in our community. We could speak on it because that's us. It's not them and then it's us. No, that's all of us. We don't separate ourselves. Like you have people say, well, that's them, like they're not Black. Or you're white, they're white. No. That's still our community. And the reason why Trump actions, like when he's in cities like the District of Columbia, for example, is like half of it or more than half is Black. The people that are homeless, a lot of them were Black people. And they're American citizens, but we can bring in we could bring in 14 million plus or 25 million, he said, homeless, illegal aliens and give them everything, but we're going to throw away American citizens like they're trash, and we're not providing the housing. They said the people that work on the streets and work in District of Columbia said that they're short thousands of beds. They're packed, the shelters are packed, but they're not giving the luxury apartments. They're not giving the $13,000 SNAP cards. They're not giving the college. They're not, and a lot of them are vets that are on the street. They threw away everything that they own when they moved those encampments without relocating them.
And I made $200K at 16. I could think and speak pretty well. Now he's defending men being in women's sports. He says only.
That's not our issue right now. That's a God issue that you're going to say or you at school you got to go back and learn anatomy or whatever the case may be, your chromosomes. So anyway, but my point is that the reason why I'm concerned about what he is doing and when it appears he's targeting American citizens that happen to be black, this has already happened. And I didn't know. When I voted for Biden, and I've been a true supporter of the Democratic Party, I had no idea that he was the author of the 1994 crime bill because I didn't do my history. I'm like, oh, the Democrats, therefore civil rights. Oh, the Democrats, therefore black communities, therefore this. I was totally deceived because instead of finding out what was really going on and in position, I went along with what generations do. Generationally, we vote for Democrats and we don't look at policies. My hopes now for the next election is that we're going to look at policy and don't vote according to identity politics. So this is what I've been saying as far as the black community. Our vote matters, and people need to earn our votes. And I was hoping that more black people, like black men, we start swinging more towards the Republican Party.
How are we crying when we still support Trump?
You know, the American Party, don't give that in. Who cares what they say?
No, because
I don't care if that's one person out of a billion. Who cares what they say? I don't care. What I care about is doing right by American citizens. And my point is that people perish for lack of knowledge. Because I did not know the history of what happened, Trump is rolling out the 1994 crime bill playbook that black people are the threat. You're safer to walk the streets if you lock up all the black men. If you lock up black women, children now that we're to children, don't give them any rehabilitation because they're labeled as thugs. What concerns me is President Trump language when he labeled black people as thugs. There's no differentiate when you say thugs. When people look at any young man or black man, they're not looking, oh, this is he graduated with a 4.0 average. You can't tell by looking at people. They're labeled as thugs. So when it comes from the highest office, that's what's impactful.
Hear what we're saying. Don't try to twist our words.
That's what's impactful because what he says is powerful. What the media says is powerful. No one is, all white people not innocent. What have white people done this? Who's the biggest real threat? If y'all want to go there, we can't go there. We're not the threat. We're not the threat. But we're the scapegoat. We have not done more harm in this country to citizens. Okay, we're not the threat. But my concern is that history is trying to repeat itself. That you're, as white people, you're more safe if a black male or whatever is off the streets. Now you could go into the stores. Now you can go and do these things.
Actually, JM 1981, Trump did do the first step back, and he did make it so HBCUs didn't have to keep coming back.
And that's what's our talking points, that have other black people vote for the Republicans in the upcoming elections, that they did not do Jim Crow like the Democrats that had done to us. They didn't do the 1994 crime bill. That wasn't the Republicans. The Republicans pushed the civil rights bill. I didn't know that the Democrats filibustered it for 70 days. All this stuff was going on. The Ku Klux Klan, I didn't know there was the Democrats. I didn't know all this. And now I've learned all this. And now I'm like, they've been wolves in sheep clothing. Then I said, well, we need to hear what the Republicans have to say. And I have family members that are not speaking to us because we're, voted Republican and things like that. Close family members. And some, I can't even tell them. I hope they never see my screens because they will never speak to me again in life. So there's been sacrifices. But then to turn around because that one Doge employee had gotten beaten up, at the same time, there were mass murderers going on at Target, CDC, police officers but that was swept under the rug. What became Trump's trigger point was the white guy that got beaten up. And then he put all black people in the same boat and labeled all black people as thugs. There was no like, these are thugs, but white people are not labeled thugs no matter what they do. They're labeled trouble. Or they have mental illness. And things like it's downplayed when we don't commit the most crimes.
I know you guys aren't used to seeing this, but we're the first ever Republicans that's for black people becoming better and being great.
Yes,
The
the stereotypes are wrong. The black community, they always want to look like everybody downtrodden. We're not downtrodden. Everybody is more white people impoverished and on stands and public assistance than black people, but it's not portrayed like that. And we got to stop saying these things, especially from Trump. We support him.
My mom got a BMW more than any car you could ever afford.
We support him. But I'm not going to support when I was blinded before, didn't know what was going on. The same roadmap. Now they say lock up our children. Don't rehabilitate our children. Lock them up for a long time. What a long time means life sentences. They already did this playbook. Judge Jean Pereira, she always called black people thugs. They thugs. That's what it means, thugs. When they show us in the worst light. But when you arrest white people that commit all heinous crimes, they show a high school picture. A picture that they look like the boy next door, right? We're not going to go along with the okie doke. That's what my concern is, because I didn't know what happened the last time, but now that I am aware of it, that's why people don't like you to know the history of what's going on. That's why they try to erase history. That's how history repeats itself. But like the Bible says, people perish for lack of knowledge. And that's what my concern is. And now you're deploying the military, and now you told them to be armed. The military is supposed to fight against other countries to protect America, not deploy the military. Now you want them to be armed to shoot us like American citizens? I'm not talking about illegal criminals. And you said it's 15. So you got 15 million convicted rapists running around this country, 2 million gotaways, 14,000 convicted murderers that have murdered people more than once, he said, and they have done the most hideous crimes in the world, and black people are still the threat.
Yeah, I just saw the report today.
We're still the threat.
I just saw the report today. He's now allowing the National Guard to carry pistols on them now.
Yeah, now allowing the National Guards. If DC is so safe now why you got an order for them to carry pistols now? Who are the pistols for? The criminals are not roaming the street. They probably left the freaking state. So who are you arresting? Nobody that's a criminal going to have all that. You got every national agency in Washington that's trying to watch. He has to get numbers. They're arresting people no matter what it is, because they need numbers to say that it's working. You're safe now because we got the black people off the street. The criminals have committed murder. They're in jail. They're in jail. But now you're saying we want to lock up the children. Let's lower the age and go after the black children. But you got white kids that's committing murders and rapes and burglaries and crimes beyond the pale, but they get rehabilitated. But black people, God said all of us, there are people that have done all kinds of crimes that are pastors now and have testimonies. You know, there are people that have done all kinds of things in this country that are now a plus to society. And the other countries around the world, they do real rehabilitation for their so-called criminals. They give them skills. They set it up so they can come back out and be successful in society, something we're not doing here. The only thing that the Democrats care about right now is illegal aliens, but you got to question those in authority over you. I don't care who's in office.
And now Trump went from going after illegal immigrants to going after American citizens.
Going after illegal aliens. And you know we got terrorists here. We got 2 million gotaways that who knows what they are. We got all this running around this country, and black people are still the threat. How about that? How about that? I wouldn't want to be in one of those states that I got to be concerned about my son trying to go to college, because he can be labeled as a thug, because that's what the president said. You can't take a population you represent all the citizens. When you're president and you're in that type of position, you're the president of all Americans regardless of their ethnicity. And you can't do that, because he's sending a message like white is right and black is wrong, that black is still the threat no matter what. We're not in the 60s. This is 2025. We're not barely making it.
Kevin.
Everyone in my family, all of us own single homes. All of us drive luxury cars. I don't even pay for my cars unless I'm paying for with cash. I don't even do car notes.
Kevin, so let me ask you this. Like, you're saying that like a criminal can be any race. Who do you think is going to be looked at and paid more attention to in a store? Me or an Asian? Me or an Eskimo? Oh, it's going to be me. Even though I have been successful in the past, I'm successful now, and I'm a college educated man. Yeah. But I'm going to be viewed more because I'm black, because of the color of my skin. So yes, a criminal can be any race, but people still discriminate out.
Because we're labeled, it's already a stereotype. And when you have the president, and he's going, I never saw him because this is bothering him. He keep trying to convince all of us that all black people, we safe now. You get black people off the streets, right? But you got 2 million gotaways running around here. You got convicted murderers, double murderers out here. You got Venezuela empty out their prisons. We got Trinidad, Raga, MS-13, terrorists, ISIS, national, Chinese national. We got everything here. We got 350,000 missing kids. We got fentanyl. All this is here. He closed the borders, but they here now. But we black people are still the threat. I can't get over this.
Yeah, it's like the illegal immigrants he allowed was the Africans, the South Africans that were white.
Yeah, they can come in the country. You know, but people that really need asylum, they're being put out the country.
The Haitians.
Yeah. The people that really need it, they're being put out. So I'm always I support him, but I am not like going to support what I believe that isn't right. But I do believe that he's the best person in office as a whole. I like the majority of everything. I felt when he got there, I felt actually proud to be American. Do you know what that means? I feel proud to be American. Yeah, proud to be American. Yeah, I'm proud.
He loves that song.
And this kind of dampened my spirit, because this is the same rhetoric that was said for the 1994 crime bill that was put into office by a Democratic President Bill Clinton. I'm like, we doing the same thing. But we want to erase all the history, go to Smithsonian, and take out all the horrors that have happened.
No.
That's our history.
No, all the media does is paint black people as the criminals.
Thugs.
The main
just
threat.
like the president, just like Judge Jeannie Perrell. She was a judge. How the judge is sitting there, I feel sorry for the people that went under a lot of these judges. You're just labeled. They don't see your potential. They don't see your genius. They don't see everybody make mistakes. The slightest infraction that black people do, you are heavily sentenced. Heavily. And now they want to do that to our children. And I have it. This is just, stream is too long, but I have all the information. I might do another one about even what he's trying to do with the cashless bail bonds. How much his executive order even would be in effect, because he's federal. And the things he's doing is like you're using them. You are weaponizing the military at this point, when you feel like now you want them to be armed with guns.
Pablo, do you know what the Haitians that's going on with them in Haiti? Those are the people that need asylum and actually need the help to be in this country. Yeah. Not South Africans. He's trying to say South Africa because the farmers, they need to be.
Well, search that. If you have any kind of access to ChatGPT, Google, YouTube, like you're on, you can look this up yourself and see who are impacted, what farmers are really impacted. And they weren't white people, they were black farmers that are being killed and all of that. Those white farmers are the rich people. Okay? And you have people on YouTube that are white, that live in the country, that's all over the internet and all over YouTube telling people what's really going on, what's really happening, and who the real victims are. We can find you. I'm glad. Only thing I'm glad that we're living. We got ChatGPT, we got Siri, we got Google, so we got everything that you can find now. And I get all my information from Ground News. I'm a subscriber to that because they show the left and they're right. They show both sides where we stand at, and that's my news source. Not MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, CBS, and all the ones that I was a diehard for. Because the only thing I listened to was Meet the Press and CNN and NBC, Rachel Maddow, all of the favorites, Morning Joe, all of them. But now I'm reading up. Now I'm using other news sources. Now I'm more aware. And because I'm aware now is why certain things are not going to settle with me, because I'm finding out things I didn't know. I believed everything the media said. Who knew? I believe everything every elected official said that was Democrat or in office. Who knew? You got to do your own research.
Other going our fans.
And I'm not going to stand around and watch history repeat itself because we have a president labeling us the same thing that Biden did. So my wife and my mother can walk down the street. And so the white women are safe. You lock up the black people, then we're still the issue, even with the open borders, even with known criminals that are here.
Benja, just like getting men out of women's sports, all that takes is common sense, dude. You're right.
You know, I am so happy that, look, God only made two genders. That's it. There's no in between. Nobody can change their chromosomes, their DNA. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That will never change. I went to the football game last week and I see these men cheerleaders. Let's go. You know, they all, it was disgusting. But they took the positions of women cheerleaders from making the squad. I'm talking about the NFL.
And Benja, if you watch the stream, this whole stream, we've been calling out Trump, but it just said you just got here, so you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so anyway, we got to cut this. He's coming back on. We're going to come back on because he's going to do another meeting. I forget who he's meeting with. I think which president was it? It's somebody he's meeting with. I forget now. I think
China?
I forget who he's meeting with, but we will be back on. But anyway, it's time for lunch. Gotta get something to eat. We've been out, you know, we start our day early. So anyway, you guys, but these are things now that I'm more made aware of. And I'm more
South Korea.
he's meeting with South Korea. Okay, president. Okay, so yeah, I'm just more aware, and I'm getting my news from Ground News. I'm doing, you know, neutral. They show both sides, the right and the left, and I'm not just going to have people keep telling me something and not finding things out for myself, which I have been at fault about.
Benja, we are still totally for Trump.
Yeah.
We clearly are for men being in female locker rooms and bathrooms and athletics. That's your business. Maybe you're one of them that go in different bathrooms, not your assigned gender, or the gender you are. But you know, keep doing you, man.
All I know is that I'm not going to ever turn my back on my community for nobody. And when I see history appearing to repeat itself, then I'm going to speak up and speak out because I answer to God. That's the right thing to do. Is crime in their communities. Everybody does. Nobody's ever going to eliminate all crime. I don't care if you're in Beverly Hills or if you're in Martha's Vineyard. There's going to be crime. Period. But what's going on now, you know, labeling American citizens as thugs as a whole, that carries a lot of weight. And even Biden didn't get on social media and like he did the freaking 1994 crime bill, and I'll show so many people say that was a atrocity that was done to the black community. When you talk about ripping, and people talk about ripping illegal aliens families apart, they ripped black families apart. Our fathers, dads, uncles, sons, cousins, nephews, all the men. That's kept our population down because they're not out here reproducing. They're not out here with a purpose. You know how many geniuses and talented black people are extremely resilient and talented. And lives have been stolen because of the laws against black citizens. I mean, we've been through enough. Period. This is always about dominance. But it needs to stop, and we need to look at each other as one nation under God. We are not the threat. There are a lot bigger threats than the black community, and we refuse to be labeled as thugs. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Who would want that in their community? If I look at every Asian man, and I'm looking at them as thugs. If I'm looking at white people and I'm saying they thugs and I'm scared to be in the supermarket with them because they mass murderers. They might freak out any time. I don't go about looking at people, labeling them like that, but we are labeled. And it's not right. And I think that Trump shouldn't have did that, calling us thugs, because people say a lot about him. They look at him as a criminal. You're talking about criminals, and you got half of America looking at him as a criminal. You would think it would be some grace there. He got let out. He could have went to jail legally.
It's not the same.
And he has no grace.
It's not the same. Someone says Trump's doing the same to Hispanic families. It is nowhere near the same.
Well, whoever he's doing, it's wrong. It's wrong to label people or a whole population as thugs, but he specifically, I think he said us. And they do look at Hispanics as.
Talk about the illegal immigrants and comparing that to what he's saying.
Oh, they not supposed to be here. So we're Americans. We've been here over 400 years. So I'm talking about citizens. We shouldn't be deploying the military under no circumstances against citizens. Citizens. I'm not talking about citizens. That's why we got police force. That's why we have other agencies. But the military? And now they're armed? That's how we're using our military? They're supposed to go out and fight wars. There's too many other agencies to have our military thinking it's their job to use their weapons. Why they got weapons? And now he got them all armed now. Why? What is that about?
Listen, they're not.
Weapons kill. What is that about?
Listen, you come to the country legally. That's all we're saying.
Apply for citizenship.
Not illegally.
Like everywhere else in the world. Period. And it ain't their fault. We had people that was in office, they could all come in and neglect American citizens. Just neglect all Americans. They have top priority. Don't worry about it. They had top priority with the Democratic Party. And now you can hear a pin drop what's going on now when it concerns black Americans. I mean, they like MIA. You don't see no NAACP, no Congressional Black Caucus. But those are the agencies that supported the 1994 crime bill. They get black people on board. Yeah, we'll all be safer. No, they're attacking our community. We are not the problem. We don't even have the highest crime rates.
We're not talking about Hispanics just in general. American Hispanics. We're talking about illegal immigrants.
We're focused on Americans. The word United States citizens.
He's talking about the Spanish, but Trump's doing the same Spanish as.
Are they Americans?
No, he's talking about illegal immigrants.
This conversation is not about the illegal immigrants. It's about just focus on Americans. If a president could treat their citizens like this is what I'm talking about. Americans. So anyway, you guys, we got to get ready to get off. I got to go get something to eat. We will jump back on. Speak the Truth 2.0 is to have these hard conversations. This is a hard conversation because you got the people on the right that don't like it, because that's really what our channel is about. And then you got the people on the left, they got a problem. It's like You know, you can agree to disagree. These are hard subjects, but we need to talk about these things. Nothing is solved without communication. That's why they cannot end the Ukrainian and Russian war, unless people communicate. The leaders have to speak. We have to speak about these things that are difficult to talk about. And that's what we're going to do. How are you going to have resolve? How are you going? That's a real leader, is to find solutions that's going to be uplifting to the people that you're serving. That's a true leader. And we're going to talk about the difficult conversations, because people that's not walking in your shoes, they don't have the understanding of what it's like, because that's not the world that they're living in.
Listen, you can't ignore all the great Trump has done for black people. And Trump got the experience of a black person with this court situation he had to go through. He got the experience of a black person.
He felt he was unjustly railroaded.
Yeah.
Well, that happens to black people every day. Every day. Anyway, you guys, we got to get off. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for those people that super chat us. We do appreciate it. Live streams we don't get paid for spending our time and doing what we're doing. So that does help us, for our equipment, our time and energy, and then we can go out and get something to eat. I'm hungry. Use it. So that's a blessing, So that's just a caveat that, that goes along with the channel, but we do appreciate it. But we do have products. We got little videos on there. I got to set up the shop so you guys can buy it. They're 3D iPhone cases for Trump.
Completely original.
And that Elijah designed. This is all him helping with his college. And we got one for the Democrats, the Blue Wave. We got a case for them with Kamala, Biden, and former President Obama, compliment, the pictures are really nice. They compliment them. And we got Trump, a lot of iconic moments, like when he's throwing up the fist when that assassination attempt was placed on his life. I believe it was July the 13th, 2024. And so this is Trump. He's hugging a flag and iconic, and his mugshot that was taken in Fulton County, Georgia. I believe that was August the 23rd. He did the mugshot. But that's Trump and a flag. So these are 3D covers. You get it for your anniversary, birthdays, holidays. And this is the 3D moving iPhone case. It's all iPhones right now. We're not doing an Android yet. We're just launching an iPhone case. It's any size. And this is the Democrats with Kamala, President Obama, and Biden. So if you're interested, I believe that my son put a link in the description, or you go to speakthetruth2.0.com, but you have to spell out the word point. Speakthetruth2.0.com, but you have to spell out the word point. So it's speakthetruth2.com. Yeah.
Yeah, just check the
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
It's
the
in
description has a website, but it just want to let you have to spell the word out point, because with .com you can't have speak the truth 2.0.com. So anyway, thanks you guys. Catch you later. Stay blessed. And for the last few people on there, if you didn't hit a like, let's get it to 100. We'll see you later on the next live. God bless. Peace out.